Hi, everybody. This is Hershey Petty. We're here back again with Time for Art. It is Monday. It's our art journal day. We are, we're going to be working with Allison Crary, our very talented artist. Say hello, Allison.
Hello. Happy holidays.
Hello. Happy holidays. Is it cold in Chicago?
It's so cold in Chicago. We don't have any snow, but it is cold and dry and like hand cracking cold. It is.
I think it was 70 degrees today, and I think tomorrow and Wednesday are going to be in the mid to high 70s. So
I think we need to start doing Time for Art from Arizona.
Right.
That sounds
so
fantastic.
We're so happy to see you. So glad to be back with you, Allison. Thank you for joining us again today for our Art Journal Day.
Thank you for having me.
We are going to be working, everybody, just so you know, in your kits, we're going to be working with our art journal. And if you've been hanging out with us on Mondays and Wednesdays for a little bit now, your art journal is filling up with like the coolest stuff and different things that we've been doing. So we're just gonna be working right out of that same book. But Allison, I want to ask you, the paints and the things that come in the kit, those all make sense, the easy sense, whatever. Tell us a little bit about why the art journal is so important to the Time for Art kit and the process.
Certainly. So your art journal is just a visual journal. It's that simple. And you can put anything in a journal. It can be really personal. It can be really not. It can be lists. It can be grocery lists. It can be things you're thinking about. It can be favorites. It can be anything. And this is that, but visual. And so sometimes it's going to have words. Sometimes it's going to be very personal. Sometimes it's going to be a sketchbook where you just want to scribble something, or you take it somewhere and you take it on vacation.
Yeah.
You go to a Starbucks or something, or to a park, and you just want to sketch. Very fun thing to do. And the reason we work in themes is because when you have a theme, it's like a writer's prompt, and it's just easier to get started. And we include templates for that reason too. You aren't starting from scratch. You have something to begin with. And I think working with symbols is really fun. So I really like to use the templates. But then, for instance, today we're doing a special holiday one. Today we're just going to freehand draw, and it's going to be whatever it is. And this is a safe place to explore all that. And then once you work in this and you have all of your ideas that you've been putting together for a month's time, it's really easy to start from here and say, okay, I want to take one of these and I want to compose a painting, or I want to compose a large format drawing, or I really enjoy these pages. I want to rip them out and frame them. All of the above. Awesome. And that's,
I gotta say,
for you.
I have to say, I'm so glad that that's how you described right now the art journal, because there have been some moments in my art journal where I was like, I felt like I was like, what am I doing drawing this in here? Like, that's not what this is for. But there's some stuff in there that's just what I was looking at that day. There's notes to myself there, so awesome. Thank you for giving us that leeway to just put whatever comes up in there.
The other thing is that you sometimes, when you're like in the shower or when you're driving or something like that, these ideas come to you, and it's because you're kind of doing something else where you kind of cleared your mind, and there's a reason for it. But this is a great place to just feverishly write all that down when you get out of the shower or when you park the car or something like that. And then it's there. And then when you want to start composing, you go for it. And maybe you can get over that list, and that's kind of cool. Maybe you don't, maybe you rip it out. But this is your safe space to be creative, and you're going to get a new one every month. And so what I like to say is you're probably not going to fill all the pages, but this is our cycles of transition journal. So when you want to get back into that space, or maybe there's something you liked that you want to go back to, you can keep scribbling kind of in that theme, in that space, in the pages that you leave for yourself. So it's
on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays when we take paint and put it to canvas, and we make something that is, that's like almost feels like almost more permanent. Like this feels like the space to just do like make the mistakes and write, whatever. And something I want to say one more thing too, that now I just realized this in my head. My art journal used to live with my art supplies and in that space, whatever.
Yeah.
Now it's in my car where I go. I keep it handy because that's so cool.
No, your art journal doesn't live with those supplies. Those supplies have a nice home someplace else. Keep them safe. Keep them
It's the
available.
truth.
Don't put them away too deep, right? Because you want to be able to like, get them out and play with them. But no, take your art journal with you in your backpack car. That's why they're this size. It's super easy. And the other reason they make them this size is because when they're open like this in a spread, they're almost the exact same size of the canvas that we provide. So that if you compose something in the entire space, that's good. It's a good kind of module to format over your canvas. So today, I got this really beautiful holiday card that says peace, and it's got the symbol of a dove, and it's kind of modular where it's got sort of filigree, and this one has snowflakes in it, but there's some hearts inside the shape of the peace dove. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and draw the dove. I'm going to show everybody how to draw the dove. Okay. And we're going to do kind of this filigree on the inside, and maybe your filigree looks a little bit different. I kind of like this swirly technique. Maybe if you're feeling kind of more rigid or more angular, or what is peaceful to you, maybe it's really geometric. Maybe you really like shapes and clean lines, things like that. We're going to break up our dove in some of those lines, and then we're going to kind of weave in visually with drawing some elements that I find peaceful, that bring me to peace. And for me, I wear a lot of my grandmother's vintage jewelry. I have different grandmothers. I've got all sides represented. I wear it every day. That brings me peace. And I'm going to include my journal, my art journal, my paintbrush, and my pencil. That's what I'm going to weave into my dove. And then we'll do some painting on it. We'll see what it goes. And then I had these green pages that I wanted to paint on. So this is our edition. And so this is certainly visual, certainly sort of free association. We're not trying to represent something especially accurately or especially realistically, but we want to know what they are. So it's semi realistic, and it's totally personal, and you can do this with any shape. So if you're like, actually, I don't want to do a dove, I'd rather do a Christmas tree, and like talk about different things for Christmas that you've given maybe as gifts or you've received as gifts, and that's what you want to weave into Christmas. Totally cool thing. We'd love to see it.
All right. Well, before we get into the materials that are required today, that are all in the kit, I do want to say a special shout out. We've got Julie Crary on with us again. She's such a trooper. She's with us all the time. I can't wait to see how her art has changed in the last few weeks. And also a special hello to Cheryl Pasilio, who's also with us today too.
Hello, Cheryl.
Yeah. Hello. Hi, guys. Yeah. So what are we working with today, Al?
Okay. So I've got these 2 pages out, and I think I'm going to work just on this page. And then if I want to do some lettering or some journaling on this page, the first thing we're going to
do the materials.
What? Oh, the materials. That's right.
Yeah.
Sketchbooks. I have already painted this page. I used leftover paint from before. If you want to go ahead and paint your page, great. If you want to paint it later, great. If you don't want to paint, great. I have my pencil. This will get me pretty far. My pencil, my eraser, and I'm going to work from this holiday card.
That's what I have today.
I have my water out. I have my brushes out. I have some white paint out. We'll see how we use it. If we use it, we might not. And then I like to outline a lot of my work in ballpoint pen because I think it's really simple.
I started doing that too.
Not too gooey. Any pen works. We all the above.
Yeah, but I bought a fancy black pen to do it because I love it.
Oh, fantastic. So it might just be that. We'll see. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to start by drawing the dove.
Real fast, guys, real fast. Al, sorry to interrupt you. I just want to say for everybody watching at home, Allison's going to go through her process. She's thought about this before. She's got things planned out. So you're 100% not expected to like keep up with how fast she's going. Keep doing what you're doing. Go at your own pace, because at the end of this, if there's a part of the video that you want to go back and watch, it's available on Facebook and on YouTube for Time for Art subscriptions. Look us up there. And then at the end of all of this, we want to see what you've done. So, don't forget to post to our Facebook and Instagram, and you'll see us there for Time for Art subscriptions.
Absolutely.com. All right. We are going to get started. So I'm just going to draw kind of a small circle, about that big, maybe the size of a big dime.
So the real fast is you're gonna draw. It looks portrait right there, and the card looks landscape.
And I'm gonna keep my reference here, so I'm not gonna draw on this page.
Okay,
I've
gotcha.
got kind of a circle here that's going to be my head. And then the beak will kind of go this way. Not that that's super important right now, but I want to make sure I have enough room for it.
Okay.
And then I'm going to draw this kind of down sort of ladle shape this way. And I'm going to stop it right there. And then I'm just going to kind of make 2 marks. I'm going to make one right here. And I'm going to make one right here for where these wings are going to end. So I've got this shape right here that, like I said, is kind of a big dime.
Yeah.
If you ever like had play money and they make it all a little bigger, I would say that's about the size there. And then I've got this ladle shape, and then I might even go back in and draw my beak. And then I've got a wing that's going to begin and end right about here, and another wing that's going to begin and end and come back around this way. The next actually point I'm going to draw in to the left of where this ladle shape ends, I want to know where my wing ends. And my wing is probably going to end right here, and the bird's body is going to kind of begin and end here. And if everyone can see that, I'm going to make this a little darker. My reference marks. And this is just the beginning measuring I do when I like to plan things out.
Yeah. So what do you got? You got all in the top half page of that journal.
All in the top half of the page. I've got these 2 marks right here. I've got these 2 marks right here. And I'm going to start connecting them. So this is going to kind of come out, curve out like this and back in like this. This is going to kind of curve out like this and back in like this. And then there's going to kind of be these scallop shapes that connect like this. More of these kind of scallop shapes that connect like this.
I love that we're doing this from a reference because, you know, I think that at least for me, and I don't know, like people out there watching, like, let me know if this is you. But when I first start drawing something, it's looking at something and trying to recreate it on a page. And that's exactly what we're doing now, getting the dimensions and all that jazz.
And you never stop doing that. So I looked at my first mark and I thought it was too short, and that's because it is. So I moved my mark up there, and I like that more because I like how this relationship looks a lot more like this relationship. And I'm going to go back in and I'm going to curve around like this and down like this. And I like that line more.
Okay.
And then I'm going to kind of reset this line with the scallops. And I'm going to have kind of a big one and some smaller ones.
Okay.
All right. And then so here, because the words kind of got in the way, we've got to kind of decide where the word begins and ends. I think I'm going to give it one more scallop here. And I am going to make a line that kind of smiles out this way. And I'm taking that all the way to the edge.
All right. Okay. Okay.
I'm going to kind of redraw this contour because I was looking a little awkward. So I'm going to bring my scallops back out like that. I know where the bird's body is going to go. And I think I'm going to make some marks there. So I know I want the bird body to kind of cross here, and come back in here. And then that's another kind of smile line that smiles this way. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to make a mark, kind of smiles out this way, curves out this way. This is connected with more of these scallop lines. Like that.
Allison, is this the first time you've ever drawn this bird? Like, or you know what I mean? Like you've never drawn this before. You're just doing straight from the card.
I'm doing it straight from the card.
So cool.
Yeah, I don't have a swap for this.
Yeah.
Put my beak in, and the beak kind of comes to a point with these kind of concave lines. Kind of like that. And if you look, this isn't really such a pronounced circle. It curves more into the body. And I'm going to try that. Let's see if I like that. If I like it more. And I don't like it. I like it more how I had it. So we go a little different. We're going to keep it kind of round like that. I'm gonna lessen my initial marks that I made.
I'm going through the same thing right now. Like it's not
Yeah.
fitting in the page, so I'm doing the same stuff.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of adjusting. And that's my dove for the day. I'm gonna give it its eyeball. I'm gonna fill that in. I'm gonna kind of fill in the beak sort of like they did, which is a mark out like this. And then mark back in like that. Fill in that guy. Gonna clean up my stray marks. And there is my dove. There is today's dove. And so from there, the inspiration is this kind of filigree texture, these kind of overlapping spirals that I am going to start putting into my bird, that I'm going to weave in some symbols. So I'm going to kind of do a spiral over here, maybe another one. They kind of, it looks like they don't really end. So every time you go to end your spiral, you kind of like, you know, keep it into the edge.
Yeah.
Then I think I'm gonna have kind of another one here. Maybe another one here. So these are just kind of curly cues that I am including in my dove. They go into the face. I think that looks really nice.
Yeah, it does.
And so in this instance, I'm going to put in some hearts because I see some of those shapes going on here. The dove is a symbol for peace, and I think we talk a lot about peace this time of year, regardless of any religion you might observe. And even if you even if you don't observe a religion, I think peace is a very special thing to think about come winter.
Yep.
And so, but if what brings you peace is actually structure, you could do really beautiful kind of angular lines or geometric lines or maybe really dense lines or a lot of things you can do. But I kind of liked these spirals. So I put in spirals and I'm deciding if I need any more. Like I think this one looks a little awkward in here. So I'm gonna do a new one in here. I like that a little more. That's good. And then the symbols I wanted to include. I knew I wanted to include a paintbrush, and I wanted to include my art journal because that's been a real place of peace for me. And then probably a pencil because
always you don't need to explain the pencil.
And then I have these jewelry pieces that mean a lot to me. Around my neck is my grandmother, my Nana's, who's alive and well at 92 years old, lives alone, is winning at life. I have her engagement ring.
Nice.
I have my grandmother's, on my mother's side, or my grandmother, or my father's side, I have her engagement ring and her wedding ring. And then I have my great grandmother's class ring, and this is over 100 years old. So
very beautiful. You know,
I am going to include all of those in this piece. So I think we'll start with the paint, with the brush and the pencil. So
Allison, for me, I'm gonna do crossword puzzles and somehow reggaeton music because those are the things that I do when I'm. I love
that idea. You can do really cool stuff with like crossword geometry in the.
Right?
I can't wait to see it. Oh, that'll be fantastic. So I'm gonna kind of weave my paintbrush into the neck, I think, and this is how. It looks kind of like a candle right now, so we're gonna. Structure that better. That's my paintbrush. And then I think I'll put my pencil in kind of a different spot. So my pencil, give it an eraser. Sometimes artist pencils don't have erasers on the other end of them. To me, what a waste.
That seems the like
You want that egg for
ridiculous
something
idea.
else? Like,
The only way that would work for me is if the pencil also came with a pack of erasers.
and then you can lose those erasers. Like, I'll take the pack of erasers, and then
Right.
also I'd really still like one at the end of my pencil, please.
Yeah.
So if I ever design artist pencils, all of them will have erasers on the other end. I'm gonna put my art journal right here. And I'm gonna have the spiral binding on the side. So Hershey, I've been talking to some people. They're like, well, I don't think I'll ever put anything too personal or like write your deepest, darkest secrets in your art journal. And I go, totally understand. But please don't think that being personal means writing your deepest, darkest secrets. If you're just thinking about, and you just want to like, you want to do some painting that day, and you want to write worry, or you want to write like contemplation or sorting something out, or like only you might know what that was, or you just want to use some of the words that might, maybe it's the characters involved, maybe you're sending to somebody and you just want to put their name in it. That's the point of kind of a visual journal, is you don't have to dear diary blah 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 unless you want to. Awesome.
Yeah. You know, something that I got in my journal that is deeply personal to me that might seem funny to somebody else is that, you know, I have been watching Queen Elizabeth's health like nobody's business because she matters. I don't know. I'm obsessed, right? In my journal, you'll see like I started drawing her face from a photo. Like I just, for no reason, you know, and look at that. And then I even drew like her hat because she always wears this hat, you know, and like that came from a day where I was like, oh, I was just so nervous that she was going to die.
Well, and she's alive, and well, Hershey, dare I say, you've sent her well wishes.
Absolutely.
All right, so this is this ring that I'm kind of putting in, and this has an F on it for Frances, who was not only my great grandmother's name but my grandmother's name.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so I could be knocking them both out with this one, but I'm not. I'm going to include them. So there's this beautiful script F that's on that. And then I'm going to put this ring over here, and it's just the inset diamonds on white gold.
Oh, those are beautiful, beautiful rings.
And then this one, an engagement ring. This really pretty sort of, also got some filigree. It looks kind of, I'm actually going to go outside of the bird on this one. It's kind of deco. And then this is my Nana's engagement ring that I have in this kind of bezel setting. And then I'm going to put the chain kind of around here. So this is what brings me peace. And kind of like the symbols I used. I could go back in and change them if I wanted to, but I'm going to stick with those. And I think what I'm going to do, I think I want to keep it just like white on this painted surface.
Mm-hmm.
I could get out my white.
You're covering white, so I'm nervous right now.
Well, but if so you're covering white, certainly covers. If you use it at full strength, but it also, because it's such a nice product, I'm going to use my biggest kind of paddle brush here, square brush, chisel brush, whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to do kind of a veil layer.
Right.
White.
We've done that before. We did that.
Yes.
Where did we do that?
Oh, it's one of my favorite moves. So
yeah, we did that. Yeah,
more than once.
What was it? We put a whole white cover over something. It was the clouds we did.
That's right. Yes. And so I'm just gonna go, and this is just my decision at the moment. Mm-hmm. Anything, please do anything, but this is the move I'm going with right now. And I'm just gonna kind of paint over these pencil lines so I can still see them. And then I think I'm gonna outline the whole thing just in black ballpoint pen. So it's a pencil drawing, it's a pen and ink drawing. It's personal to me. So how often do you do crosswords, Hershey? What's your
I mean, like there's no simple answer to that.
Okay.
So for starters, I have the New York Times app on my phone. I pay for it, the premium membership. So I can do a crossword puzzle from like any day of the year going back to like 1980.
Wow. Okay.
And if you know me, you know, like I have crossword puzzles clipped out of random newspapers laying all over the place. And I don't always set out to finish a crossword puzzle. I just set out to start it, you know, but I will say, since we're talking about it, I'm going to brag. I can do the Monday New York Times crossword puzzle in less than 10 minutes with zero assistance, zero help.
So what's funny is crossword puzzles obviously give you peace, right? And
yes,
like to start them, you like to get into it. You enjoy kind of thinking a little bit differently, it sounds like, and you have no trouble knocking one out, right?
Yeah.
Puzzles give me anxiety.
Why? Like you, because you feel like you need to fill it. Yeah.
In boxes, not for me. Erasing, getting it wrong. There's a right answer and a wrong answer. I don't do so well with that.
I see so much creativity and art in the way some of these questions are designed on purpose to throw you, whatever. I just love it.
Oh, and without a doubt, it is high art, and it's sort of like part of the art is that someone goes and takes the journey kind of along with the game writer, I think.
You're right. You're right. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. And one of the things too that people don't really know when they are starting a crossword puzzle is they think like, oh my gosh, you have to be so smart or whatever. But it's like a skill like anything else. The more crosswords you do, you start to see patterns and you start to see things that so I sometimes will get an answer on a crossword puzzle that even surprises myself, but it's because I did one 2 weeks ago that had something, similar. So
you conditioned your muscles for it.
Yep. And I feel like a deeper member of the community when the knowledge I have is from a separate crossword puzzle that I did, and that's how I got this answer this time. It wasn't just like I remembered it from an article or something.
Yeah. You learned from the actual crossword.
That's right.
Writers. All right, so I just wrote peace on mine because this is what brings me peace, and it can be anything in the same. We will do other activities like this where it's kind of something modular in a different shape, and sometimes it's called microcosm, macrocosm, where the outer shape is the macrocosm, and it creates a microcosm for what's inside, which is in this instance what brings me peace, but you can do all kinds of stuff. I did a ceramics piece in college that I called You Are What You Eat. And it was a figure shape, like a torso shape. And it had all of this food model inside of it.
Love that.
It was 3-dimensional. It was for my ceramics class. And it was a really cool piece. I really liked it. So
I took my dove and I put an entire crossword grid over it, very light. And then, so I'm going to try to figure out.
See this.
Yeah, right.
And you can be really particular or not particular about what words you decide to choose.
Yeah. You know what I'm doing? I'm going to put reggaeton words in there.
And then maybe reggae music or
reggaeton. There's the Latin, the Spanish, you know what I mean? It's gonna, I don't know what I'm putting yet, but it's gonna be reggaeton words. Yeah.
All right. So this is pretty dry. We'll start with the outside. And I'm just gonna go over these lines in my dove. In this instance, I'm starting with the outside because I think it's the most dry.
Oh, the ink pen's coming in right now.
Ink pen's coming in right now.
Okay, for me, it's usually like a finishing touch.
Well, I'm kind of done after this, I think. I
Oh
mean,
yeah? Okay,
I don't
cool.
want to
Yeah.
paint a whole lot more on this, I don't think. Now, if you want to, super cool. But I think I just want to leave it the white dove. So it looks like a little bit of a different,
Yeah.
it looks different from the paint that I put down first. And you certainly don't have to paint first. I just did. Every time I'm done with a painting, I just start doing some painting in my journal.
Okay.
And I just paint and it's always a little bit different. And sometimes I like it and sometimes I don't, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then I either can use that as a painting surface or I don't have to.
You know, I don't know if this is really kind of putting you on the spot or not, but I want to hear why, because I know you do this. Why do you wait sometimes to sign a painting?
Because I'm afraid of commitment. It comes into all aspects of my life.
Well, but that implies that when you sign it, that means it's
done.
You don't touch it again.
And I do, so I could just sign them and be more efficient with my time. But there is this whole artist ritual that it's the last stroke of the artist, and obviously no one's policing it, nor should they.
Yeah. When I heard you did that, I just thought that was so fascinating, you know?
Well, yeah, and so you just kind of my Aunt Jill always told me you don't finish projects, you just stop working on them. And
that's good.
Words well put. And
good.
So that's kind of how I am with my paintings. I don't make a decision that they're done. I just stop working on them one day. And I end up with stuff at my shows that isn't signed. So I've signed a lot of work at my shows.
Yeah, right. Because you have to be done. Somebody buys them and takes them away.
Done for sure then.
You know, and I think that, you know, for me, I've noticed in some of my paintings that I was unsure about when to be done. And I just kept adding and I just kept adding. And, you know, I think that's probably a really good ritual to end a painting, because then you kind of give yourself permission to let it just be what it is.
And I think that's a very wise point. And we should work harder at calling it.
Yeah.
You can be optimistic and say it is complete, or I've even said time of death. And you.
I love it.
It's coding time of death, and
yep.
And though that's kind of a dark way of looking at it, I also think that if you think of the life of your painting as the process, it's the product. What's done is the process. That's what's dead, not the piece. Maybe that's a good headspace to be in.
Allison, we have a question from somebody who's following along. It's Julie Crary, who we're so excited to have every single week, every day.
Every single week.
She put a bell and a Christmas tree inside of her dove, and she wants to know if you know why.
My very first ceramic work, I believe, was this bell and this Christmas tree that I made at preschool, and we still have the ornaments.
Aww.
And I made them for my dad, who's a little under the weather right now. And we certainly wish him some well wishes right now. And yes, I was very proud of them. And I think it's because, and I make a lot of art with kids. It's one of my favorite things to do. I think kids are taken seriously, and this felt very, like, it was ceramic. It was done. They looked, I don't want to say they looked professional, but they looked real. And I don't remember making them, but I remember wanting to make very real things as a kid. So I'm guessing that's probably why in preschool I was very proud of my bell and my Christmas tree. And my mom authenticated all of that and took my bell and my Christmas tree very seriously, and still hangs them on the tree.
I love that.
And I know they're up right now.
Yeah. You know, do you find that a lot of artists try when they're first starting out to do something realistic, because because I know I am right now. That's literally what I'm going through right now.
I work realistically almost a lot, quite a bit at least, right? I haven't necessarily done that in my journals, which is my favorite part of my journals, is it's kind of permission to not work realistically.
Okay.
I think it's always been very exciting to me. The sort of magic trick of it is to figure out how to portray something realistically. And it's just a really good way to learn. And if you have that skill, when you go to make work, you aren't making modified work because you don't know how to draw something. You're making the work you want to make because nothing can stop you. You know how to draw everything. So I think it's an excellent skill to learn. I also think doing these, I didn't do my pencil, doing these sketchbook sort of ritualistic, out of literal realism entries is very, very good for you too. And you should be always doing them both simultaneously to figure out what kind of artist you want to be. And maybe you'll know. You are always reevaluating what kind of artist you want to be. So I just want to recap. We drew a dove based on this really beautiful holiday card I got. It's a little different, which I intended. I changed it a little bit for my piece. We did this sort of filigree on the inside. I really liked this kind of script filigree with the spirals that was sort of working as the web to hold all these personal elements of what brings me peace. And we talked a lot about how it can be a different kind of filigree. Hershey is doing a crossword puzzle grid, too cool. And what she's gonna weave in there and what that's gonna look like. And then the symbols that I decided to include were these pieces of heirloom jewelry that I wear every day that reminds me of just, I mean, one of my grandmothers is alive and I get to call her and love her and see her, which is
it is.
We all know what we have there. My other grandmother that I lost, I have her two most precious pieces of jewelry that I wear every day, and I get to think of her every day. And the grandmother, I was gonna say I never met. That's not true. I met her once, which is kind of cool. But she meant to all of these people and to my father, and so I get to include all of this, and wearing that every day brings me peace. And my favorite things, which is drawing, painting, and journaling, and so I included those. And I went ahead and added piece because I wanted to put a little bit of text in there. And then I could leave, I kind of like this page, just sort of texture, or I could add other symbols or other ideas, or maybe just paint some white things. I'm gonna
continue the crossword grid off the bird. It'll be in the bird for sure. And then I'm going to continue it off, and that's where I'm going to put my piece, down, like the whatnot. And, we would love to see what everybody else has put inside their dove today. So as we wrap up today, we definitely invite you guys to go to our Facebook page, check out our Instagram, and post what you have done today, because we want to see the things that bring peace to you in this holiday season. We want to say happy holidays to everybody.
Happy holidays from Time for Art. We're gonna be back on Wednesday.
That's right. We're back on Wednesday, guys, and it's going to be a big painting day. So we hope to see you all there. Have fun with this. I don't think any of us are done like Allison is. So don't forget to reference YouTube or Facebook for this complete video. So you can go back and see like how she did that whitewash and stuff like that. And so, and we will see you guys on Wednesday.
All right. Take care.
Hey, good night, guys. Happy holidays.